everyone, here we go. As promised, I was going to do some financial videos this year, and we are here. This is the first video in a three-part series entitled The 3 Steps to Financial Independence. Okay? Now, I must say, I am not a financial advisor, and any advice I give you is for entertainment purposes only. And that's kind of what you have to say in these days and age of YouTube. So here we go. I mean, I'm excited that you tuned in. So I'm happy to go over some of this stuff. It's probably this, especially video 1, probably one of my favorite things to talk about and one of my favorite things to teach. And I've been doing it off and on for years now, so now I thought I'd put it on video and see. I keep getting asked, people wanted the video, so you asked for it and now you got it. So here we go. There's 3 stages to financial independence. So why would one want to be financially independent? Well, so your money can work for you and you don't have to work for your money. It's just plain and simple. As a matter of fact, how do you know you've reached the mountaintop? When your money makes enough money to live on and have fun on, and some extra, so that your nest egg continues to grow and you really can outspend it. So you can't reasonably outspend it. We can all stupidly outspend it, but you couldn't reasonably outspend it. So I think my favorite, most influential book that starts this thing off is this book. And this book is Dave Ramsey's The Total Money Makeover. Okay, it's on Amazon, and I can't believe it's only 5 million copies have sold, over 5 million copies. So there's 5 million smart people, but what happened to the rest of us? My goodness, I've bought 25 copies of this myself. So I don't know what's going on with that, but this is the book that, and I like this book because it's kind of like a diet for me. If I get on a new diet, I want the easy button for financial independence. I just want to press the button. For the diet, I want to know, okay, what do I got to do for my workout and what do I get to eat? I'm not reading the book. Where's my meals? What do I got to do? And then I get on the scale every day, right? And we'll see if this thing works. And if I stay dedicated to those things, it'll probably work. This is the easy button for financial independence. So let me start talking about what I think about Mr. Dave Ramsey, who despite what you think of him, he's kind of a grumpy old guy. But for good reason. If you had to feel all the calls on his talk show of people doing stupid with money, you'd probably be a little grumpy too. So let's talk about this. Step 1 is getting control of your earnings. Which means I don't care how much money you make. You may make a lot of money, you may make a little bit of money. This book is for both of those scenarios. Don't be that fool that says, well, someday when I get that raise and I start making some real money, then I'll start paying attention. You might want to start paying attention now, or you're going to die a very old, broke person. So let's not do that. So let's pay attention now. I think the first thing you have to do is get educated about money. You see, I believe that everybody watching this video, if they have the capacity to work hard and they have some discipline, can retire a millionaire, and in many cases a multimillionaire. I know you can do it, and I'm going to prove that to you at the end of the video by just investing a typical car payment that you're wasting your money on if you have car payments. Okay? So, first thing you got to do is get control of your earnings. You want to get educated about money. That's what the book's for. This book, the first realization you're going to have when you read it is he's talking about me. Dave Ramsey must be outside my window looking at how I live, and he wrote the book based on exactly what I've done. Okay? He points out so many things, so many scenarios, so many real life scenarios that you're just going to think he's talking about you. But it's super duper powerful because, it's also super duper embarrassing when you realize how stupid you've been with your money that you make. You may think, well, I don't make enough money to worry about doing a budget. Well, the fact of the matter is, if you don't make a lot of money, you are absolutely have to do a budget in order to have a chance at having a life. So, number one, we're going to educate you about money. And you have to have a plan for life. So, if your plan for retirement is Powerball tickets and Social Security, I think you're in trouble. So you have to have a plan for life. And it's fun. I mean, you get to dream about what it is, what it's going to be like, how much it's going to cost. Start doing that stuff. It's very helpful. But I truthfully believe Dave Ramsey's book here is going to change your life if you can dedicate yourself to it. I think you should buy this book. You need to buy it. You need to read it. You probably need to read it twice. And you need to follow it to an absolute T. And if you can do that, that's stage one. If you can do that, we got a chance. We got a chance. Okay? Let's go through the steps, and then I just want to talk to you, frankly, Tom to person, about trying to get your mind around maybe giving this a shot. So let's just look at what we need to do here. So step number one to getting into financial independence. Okay? And Dave's book especially is talking about getting out of debt. Getting out of debt and getting started on investing. Okay? Paying off your house ultimately. Investing. The very first step is the big one. Because, they say that the most difficult part of any journey is that first step. If you can just take that first step, is save $1,000 in an emergency fund. Now, if you can't even save $1,000 for an emergency fund, let's say, you watch the whole video, you get the book, you read it, you start doing it, you save up $400, and then some Friday night comes and you got to get beer and you got to get pizza, and all you got is your emergency fund. Then you're not ready for this book yet. You're not ready for this book, and we'll talk more about that because we don't touch the emergency fund. The emergency fund is for emergencies. Pizza and beer is not an emergency. Okay? So, step number one, save $1,000. I put it in a savings account, which means if it's not under your mattress, it's out of sight, out of mind, but it's an emergency fund. What's an emergency fund for? Well, if the brakes went out on your car and now you can't drive it to work to make your income, that would be an emergency. So the brake job would be an emergency. So you would absolutely use it for that. And then you put that money back just as quick as you are able, just like you saved it before. We always have $1,000 in the emergency fund. Okay? Step number 2 is we start the debt snowball. So this is exciting and powerful. Let's say you have, let's say you have 3 credit cards of various amounts that you owe on each one. 3 credit cards, you've got a student loan, you've got a car payment, and you've got a mortgage. Okay? Let's say that's where you are in life. Okay? Maybe 3 credit cards could be like a MasterCard, Visa. Maybe you got a Kohl's card or something like that. Right, and then another one, right, and then what did I say? Student loan, and then maybe a car payment and a mortgage. Okay, so the debt snowball is all about this. We have a $1,000 emergency fund. We have a bunch of bills. We're going to do a budget here in a minute. But the debt snowball is all about lining up your debt, and it lines up your debt in the order of the least amount. So typical of this stage of your credit cards, which one has the least amount on it? Then the next. So let's say you owe $2,000 on one credit card, $5,000 on another, and $7,000 on another. Okay, you owe $100,000 in student loan. Well, yeah, $100,000 in student loans. Your car payment, you still got 20 grand to go on it. And you've got a mortgage for 200,000. You know, I'm just making stuff up. But you put them in that order. Okay? So least amount of debt to the most. Okay? The debt snowball says we attack. We attack the lowest amount on the card. That's that card with $2,000 on it. Which means on all the other things, we make the absolute minimum payment allowed, and we attack card 1. Okay? When card 1 is completely paid off, it's a darn good feeling. Because we're doing this. We are doing this. We're getting out of debt. Card 1 should have the scissors taken to it. Card 1 gets this. We don't need the temptation of card 1 for when the weakness happens, and the weakness is coming. That's why you've got to be dedicated to this, and you've got to be intense about it, or you're not ready for the book. If you're not sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're just not ready for the book. If you hold the credit card and don't cut it up, you weren't ready. You weren't ready for the book. So you're not ready to get out of debt. You're not ready to be wealthy. You're not ready to be rich. Okay? Card 1 goes, then card 2. Now, you've got all you were paying on card 1 and the minimum payment you were paying on card 2, and you are knocking down card 2. And you can see pretty soon, depending on how much debt you have, we're going to get everything paid off right up to the student loan and the mortgage, okay? And we can worry about the mortgage later, but we definitely want to just knock out everything we can. Debt snowball is probably the longest stage that you're going to be in. Some people have a lot of debt and it takes years. But intensity will get you there, okay? So let's stop and talk about budgeting, because when you're doing the debt snowball, you have to have a budget. A budget is essential. If you go to daveramsey.com, in there, under tools, you will see there's a budgeting tool. It's every dollar budget tool. It's completely free. There's also some other fun tools like the investment calculator, which is great, and I'll show you that here at the end of the video. But the every dollar budget, you just sign up for it. I think you give them your email, and it's not, and then you just get in there and start using it. It's absolutely free, and it's a free budgeting tool, and it's fun to go through because it will remember debt that you forgot about. So the important thing about the every dollar budget is that every dollar you make and spend is accounted for. Okay? And unless you go through that, you might not get it all. So you have to have the ability to sit down, and if you're a husband and wife team, you have to sit down together, look each other in the eye and say, we've got to do something about this. Let's make the budget. Okay? Does that mean, well, let me go farther. So if you can't even get through the budget, without an argument, you're not ready for the book. You're not ready to get out of debt. You're not ready to get wealthy. And maybe you could revisit this video later. Okay? The budget, get your mind around this. Most of America would get their paychecks on Friday, have fun, go to the movies, go to dinner, blah, 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 go to the store, buy some stuff, buy some food. Okay, and then you got money left. And then we'll see what bills we can pay. And sometimes there's not enough to pay the ones that are due. So we have to put those off and hope they don't call and blah, blah, blah. Right? Been there? We've all been there. Every dollar budget accounts for every dollar. You have to get your mind around this. Might be the most important concept in the book is every dollar you're going to make is assigned before you make it. This is the very essence of a budget. Every dollar budget means every dollar. There's no money unaccounted for here. Okay? If you make more money than expected, it would already be assigned. It's not, woohoo, party time. It's not. It's intensity time. That extra money means the world to your budget and your debt snowball. Okay? So the budget is incredibly powerful. You have to do it. Use the Every Dollar Budget on Dave Ramsey's website. It's free. Absolutely have to do the budget. But remember, get your mind around that. Your money that you make is already spent. You spent it at the kitchen table when you did the budget. It's not for you. It's been assigned. Okay? That's how it's done. If you can't get there, if you can't save $1,000 and you can't do a budget and you can't line up your debt and start knocking it out, then you're not ready for the book. You're not ready to get out of debt. You're not ready to be wealthy. So crawl back into your hole, get back in the dumpster where you live, and maybe when you get good and pissed off, then you'll come back to the video. Okay? So that's the budget. You have to have it. So let's say then after a while you get down to where the only bit of debt you have left is your house. That's where you want to be. Because at this point, we're going to start our step 3, which is finish the emergency fund. The emergency fund consists now not just of the $1,000, but it consists of 3 to 6 months of expenses, which means you look at your budget and you multiply that times 3 to 6, whatever you're comfortable with. Why do I need an emergency fund that big? Because you might lose your job. and it might take you 3 to 6 months to get another one. Okay, so we don't mess with getting out of debt and getting financially independent. We're doing that no matter what happens. But that's why that emergency fund gets to be sizable. But it's important. So if something really bad happens, you're okay. Okay? At this point now, you have you have a house payment, and you've got a lot of extra money because you don't have the 3 credit card payments and the student loan and the car payments. Car payments are done. Now let's talk about the emergency fund. So if your washer and dryer breaks, you get them fixed with the emergency fund. We don't buy new ones. We get them fixed. Okay? If the car breaks, we get it fixed. We don't go buy a new one with a car payment. That's what stupid does. We don't do stupid. So if you don't have enough cash, $1,000 probably isn't enough to go on a used car lot, a reputable lot like a CarMax or something, and get a decent car, then you have to stop the debt snowball, go back to minimum payments on whatever it is that you owe, and you have to save enough money to pay cash for the car you want. So if the car goes bad, we have a plan. We know exactly what to do. Okay? So that's what has to get done. We don't give up, go buy a new car or a newer used car with a big old fat payment and put us back behind where we were doing so well. We don't do that. We have a plan. We drive beaters, and we don't have a great nightlife while we're getting out of debt. This takes dedication, and it takes intensity. You have to be willing to live like nobody else does, because if you're keeping up with the Joneses, with all these people, they got the new car, but I bet you they live paycheck to paycheck and they're broke. So let's not be broke. Yeah, you bought a used car, you paid cash for it, you've got no payment, and now you're in much better shape. We're going to do smart things with money, not stupid things. So you got to be willing to live with that intensity. You got to be willing to live that frugally in order to get yourself out of debt, get well invested, and get financially independent. All right? Get wealthy. We can do this. We can absolutely do it. You just got to dedicate yourself to it. So now at this point it starts getting fun, because now you've got a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. You start investing 15% of your income. And any kind of work 401k they have where they do any, I say max the smart money, that means we maximize the smart money, which means if they pay a match on a 401k, you absolutely match. What I would do is, if they match the first 3%, then I put 3% in. Not 4, 5, or 6. It's 3. Because they match that, it doubles my money. And it's hard to do that in the stock market. Okay? If they're doubling your money instantaneously, that is a great deal, and you should maximize that money. So we're going to invest that money. We're going to talk a lot about investing in video 2 and 3. So, not going to tell you what to buy yet, okay? But I'm going to give you a lot of philosophy, and you're going to have some research and some homework to do. Then we're going to start paying off that mortgage. That thing's got to go. We're going to double up, triple up payments, because now we got a lot of money because I don't have any payments on everything else. You add up all the payments you were paying. No wonder you're broke. All your money went to stupid. And what was on those cards that you had maxed up anyways? I mean, that's just silly money. So the other purpose of doing your budget is if you really look at how much money you spent in certain categories during the year, it's embarrassing. And it helps with your intensity to say, I am the dumbest person with money that's ever lived, right? So it's really going to help with the intensity. We're going to pay off the home mortgage, and we're going to start building wealth. When that home mortgage is gone, you know how much money can you put into investments? You want to put every dime you can get in there, okay? And then we're going to live like nobody else and be super generous with the money that we have, okay? Because you can't outkick your coverage. You could spend it all stupidly, but you couldn't spend it all reasonably. You couldn't spend all the money your account makes. You know, you need X amount of money to live. I've done our budget for retirement. We need, I think it's $32,563 a year to live. That pays the taxes on the house, the electric bill, food, gas in the car, everything on the budget, and we have no debt. We have absolutely no debt, but there's still a lot of expenses. So 32 grand is pretty good, okay? So Rhonda and I's Social Security together pays us, I think it is a little over $50,000 a year. So, but we don't want to depend on Social Security, do we? No. We want our investments to grow and always grow. There's never a time where we're living and your investment, your amount of your nest egg is going down. It's always going up. And it is paying the $32,563 that we need to live a year. And if Social Security keeps coming, that's all gravy. Yeah, we'll go on some cruises and have a blast, right? So life is good. So that is plan one. Now let me talk to you frankly. This is probably the most important part of this talk. So listen up. If this is you, then you're not ready for this book yet. If you can't even save $1,000 for any reason, if you put money in that fund and it goes backwards and then forwards and backwards, we don't touch the emergency fund. You're not sick and tired enough yet. You're not pissed off about how stupid you are playing with your money. Okay? If the other thing is, you say, I don't make enough money to even do a budget, then you're not ready for the book. Holy cow. You need a crack in the back of the head is what you need. Because you need a budget more than anybody else who's watching this video. Okay? So if you're not ready to sacrifice to finally get a hold of your life, while the Joneses and everybody around you are not sacrificing. Well, the Joneses are still going on vacation, and they got a new car, and the Joneses are broke. They're broke. They live paycheck to paycheck, and when they retire, they're not going to have anything. Okay? Let's be smarter than that. Says, look, we can do a budget, but I still need my mad money. If this is what you say, I still need mad money. You're probably not ready for the book. Okay, so in your budgeting, if you like to have a few beers on Sunday and watch the Buffalo Bills game, which we all do, right? And get a pizza once in a while. All of that is just absolutely fine. But it's only fine if you built it into your budget. Then it's okay. But until you have no credit cards, until you have no balances on your credit cards and they're all cut up, and until you have no car payment, you should be willing to live like nobody else will live. You got 10 friends. All 10 probably aren't willing to sacrifice and live this intensely to get out of debt and to get financially independent. But maybe you could help them if you could. And then when we don't bring it up to them, but maybe they ask you, right? So when do you get to buy a new car? When you're here. Because here, a new car isn't very much. Way up here, a new car prevents you from getting wealthy. Car payments above all else are one of the worst things you could absolutely do. It absolutely crushes your ability. Okay, I'm going to prove that to you here in a minute. So, matter of fact, let me do that now. So we're going to finish up with that. So we talked about if you pay down the credit cards, student loan, and the car payment. What if we took a typical car payment and we took a look at if we just invested that? Let's say, I think I was 26 years old when I had my first car payment. I'm just as dumb as everybody else on this video, doing this video. And, well, that Acura, I had an Acura when I was a regional manager in the furniture business, and I think that was an expensive car. That was like $550, okay? But I made decent money, and I was stupid with that money because I got a $550 car payment. And, you know, it's just like everybody else. I'm just as dumb as everybody else. So let's take a look. When I was 26, if I would have invested that money instead, what would that be worth? Okay, so here we are at Dave Ramsey's website, daveramsey.com. This is his investment calculator tool. And remember, I was 26 years old when I bought that car. And the default number in when the age you want to retire says 67 here, so we're just going to leave that alone. How much money do you have? Well, back then I didn't have nothing. So I put in nothing. But the payment was 555 schmackers. And what do you think the annual return will be? Where there's lots of defaults you could put in there. For instance, the S&P 500. It's about an average of between 7 and 8% a year for many, many, many years. But as I'll explain to you in the next two videos, if you're only getting the S&P 500 rate of return on your investments, you are not doing it correctly. You are not paying attention to investing. I say the minimum amount you should be making a year is 15%. And if you're not making 15%, then we need to talk, because there's no reason why you shouldn't. Okay? There's no reason why you shouldn't. And we'll talk a lot about investing, mutual funds, ETFs, yield on these things, dividend payments. We're going to get into that stuff. But I think a reasonable return would be 15%. It can be much more than that. It can be less than that too. But if you average 15%, then you're going to get a result like this. So if I took that car payment when I was young and dumb and invested it, what would it be worth today? When I turned 67, it would be worth almost $20 million. And I will have only put in $273,000 of actual money out of my pocket, because all the rest was compounded interest. Einstein said the greatest human invention was the power of compounded interest. So if you don't think you can watch my Get Financially Independent series of 3 videos and retire a multimillionaire, then you're just not paying attention. So go back in your dumpster and try and have the best life that you can. Let's do this. 3 videos. You got to get dedicated. If you're a husband and wife, you got to look each other in the eye and say, we're going to do this. You got to be intense, or it won't happen. Okay? Video 2 is going to be the next stage after the Dave Ramsey stages here. And then we'll go on from there. Thanks for watching the video. Remember to like and subscribe. Like the video and subscribe to my channel, Tom A TV. Need you to. Okay? And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.